Just how important is Juventus' victory at Napoli? Are Roma being underestimated? And do Inter really deserve to lead the table? Juventus' win at Napoli shows just how mentally strong a team that's won 6 Scudettos in a row can be. When it came to show the strength, well, then Juve came up on top against Napoli, who clearly didn't have the same mental capacity to adapt to a certain game. When it came to the most decisive game of the season up until now, Napoli weren't as bright, as smooth in their passing, just what makes Napoli a good team. Of course, we'll have to see what this does psychologically to the Partenopei. It gave them the first defeat. It showed that Allegri's tactical chameleontic team can beat what seemed to be perfect in Napoli until then. This could have undermined the self-confidence of Napoli. And of course, there's also a matter of points, because there's 5 teams in just the 7 points, with Roma and Lazio at the top, who also have a game in hand. So every direct clash between the top teams does make a real difference in then assigning the Scudetto come May. And Juventus didn't really seem like it needed a boost in confidence, but this could mentally change the Bianconeri as well and give them even more strength in the upcoming games. We said in the past seasons that what Napoli lacked was winning against the small clubs, and they've been doing it. They've been doing it regularly this season. But of course, these kind of games in this particular season, where all the small clubs losing points consistently and the big clubs making a difference by winning against each other, well, these 3 points that Juventus won in Napoli could really make a difference come May. Nobody's really speaking about Roma. Of course, they're getting a lot of positive reactions from the media, but no one really says, well, they can win the title. Especially in Italy, we hear a lot of talk about Inter, about Juventus, and about Napoli. And then you have the Giallorossi. The Giallorossi, who until now are showing just how good Di Francesco's work has been, building on what Luciano Spalletti had left behind him. And of course, apart from Mohamed Salah, one of the strengths of Roma is that it's the same 11 as last year, pretty much. And even though Di Francesco has been changing players around, giving some rest to some key players, the main strengths of Roma remain the same. And the 4-3-3 formation isn't too different from the one that Spalletti used. Di Francesco brought in a better pressing system going forward, and perhaps more calmness when it comes to the crucial moments of the season. And Roma right now are just there, waiting for something to happen ahead of them, and meanwhile just being very quiet, very calm, and the media is just not giving them the recognition they deserve. They are up there and they should fight for the title until the very end. They possess the top scorer of last season, Edin Dzeko. They have one of the best midfielders in the league, if not the best, Raja Nainggolan. And of course, they have the best defense right now in Serie A, only conceding 10 goals. And having roughly the same group as last season gives them something, just like we're seeing with Napoli and even with Inter to an extent, where little changes make it then easier to produce results. Look at AC Milan, who spent 230 million in the summer and are really, really struggling, despite bringing in some on paper very good players, but struggling to make the team play together. They're only 5 points behind the top, Roma, and have a game in hand. So, of course, that clash with Sampdoria that will be played on 24th of January will be absolutely key to give Roma perhaps those extra 3 points to be up there with the very best. Now, do Inter deserve to be at the top of the table? Well, yes, from what we've seen in recent weeks. But, of course, the Nerazzurri, it must be said, have been very, very lucky in the first games. The first one against the Roma being one of the key points of the season for Inter, who ended up winning 3-1 at the Stadio Olimpico after conceding 3 posts, after going down, and Roma possibly played one of their best games of the season. But Spalletti's work remains remarkable because with essentially the same group of last year, bar Mattias Vecino and Borja Valero from Fiorentina, the same 11, of course with Milan Skriniar as well, is delivering so much more than last year. They have tripled the points they had this time last season and are top of the league, ahead of a team like Napoli that had their best start ever to a Serie A season, and showing a solidity that is making a difference. We've seen in previous seasons Juventus being very solid and then eventually winning the title, and Inter have done the same. They're still unbeaten until now. They've and that's including playing at the Olimpico against Roma and at the San Paolo against Napoli. Of course, they're still to play against the Juventus of the top teams. Of course, it must be said, they've started deserving points a bit more recently. Had they lost a couple of games initially, that might have undermined their self-confidence. And on the other hand, if it didn't undermine the self-confidence, they would still have points missing at the top of the table. They could be where Lazio is, for example. But no, their mental strength and the quality of some of the players, Ivan Perisic, Mauro Icardi, Borja Valero, Vecino, Skriniar, are absolutely top players for Serie A, and they are making a difference week in, week out, so that a team like Chievo, that managed to stop Napoli for a 0-0 draw, lost by 5 goals against Inter. We'll see, of course, if they can maintain this until the end of the season. But for now, the Nerazzurri can afford to play against Juventus being ahead of them, and that's already a fantastic result. Let us know what you think about Inter. Do they deserve to be where they are? Let us know if you think Napoli will manage to react to this loss against Juventus, and if Roma deserve a bit more recognition. Of course, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, support us on Patreon, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's ciao for now.